Hey everybody, it's Alex from Jones Firearms Coaching, and today I just want to talk about the topic of suicide, right? Um, there are many of us who may have experienced losing a loved one to suicide, particularly with firearms. And it's a topic that's always going to be there. People are going to always commit this act. And sometimes the truth is there really is no prevention. But there are some things we can do to mitigate the risk. But today I want to talk about how we view suicide in the 2A community. With that being said, when we look at gun control and we look at the laws and all the stuff that affects what we do here in America with guns, anytime there's a mass shooting, right, and whether that person uses an AR-15 or a pistol, it really doesn't matter. Anytime someone commits a mass shooting in America and it's highly publicized, of course there's one side that's going to say, hey, take the guns away, right? And then us on the 2A side are saying, no, the guns don't kill people, it's the mental health that kills people, right? So rightfully so, it's a rightful argument in my opinion. But I want to talk to the people who are strong Second Amendment advocates, because for some reason, some people come out and they portray themselves as supermen, like they don't have problems, like they can't be depressed, right? Like they don't have anxiety, okay? I want to talk to us. When I say us, I mean really everybody in every community, but in the 2A community, in the Second Amendment community, in the firearms industry and community. It is one thing to say that it is mental illness that caused a person, or a mental disorder or some kind of emotional distress that caused the person to actually commit a mass shooting, right? It's rightful to say that. However, what I found is when it comes to talking about mental health, sometimes in our industry, the conversation is passive at best. That's my experience. And I can only go on my experience. Instructors, counselors, right? Law enforcement, military people who carry guns every day, or just regular citizens who carry guns every day, and they're Second Amendment advocates. The conversation is passive at best. I've even seen to the point where someone said, I won't give you too many details because I don't want to like rag on their business, but instead of teaching the portion of the suicide prevention of the course, they decided to say, well, that's just a liberal talking point. We don't believe in that. And it makes me think, who do we think that we are? And I was offended because it affected me, because I've lost family members to suicide, right? So who are we to think that we are immune from this problem? Which makes me think in a different way that a lot of people are hurting. And some people don't have the emotional regulation, the spiritual regulation, the mental regulation that's really needed to even have a gun in the first place. So when people say things like, well, I'm not about to talk about that. I'm not going to get into a meeting circle with you to talk about my mental health so you can red flag me. This is how we think sometimes. And if anybody don't know what I say when I say red flag, I'm talking about red flag laws that has become pretty popular across the United States, that's supposed to deal with individuals who have mental health problems, where their guns are, quote unquote, confiscated or held and stored somewhere so they won't do something bad. But I'm not going to get into detail of red flag laws today. But what I will say is that it's a conversation that we really, really, really need to have. We really, really need to have this conversation. If anybody knows me, they know my business, they know my philosophy. In order for you to be the proper self-defender, you got to have the mental, the spiritual, and the physical fitness in order to be optimum, to be in a prime for defending yourself. Because when you're not mentally healthy, you're not going to make the best decisions. You're not going to be as sharp, right? Now, COVID did a whole number on society as a whole across the globe. And even I felt that. Not saying I'm like some special person or anything, but I felt that as well. You know, we are going through a lot of things. We're going through depression. We're going through anxiety. We're going through suicide ideations. People are dealing with this stuff every day. But we do something where we compartmentalize things as much as we can. We're not talking about them. We're not trying to mitigate anything. We're not being real with ourselves in a lot of places. So some people may get on this video and say, you know what, Alex, man, people are going to do what they're going to do when they're going to do it. And that is the truth. But even if you save one person, one family member, one friend, it's all worth it. We're in a world where sometimes we're not allowed to express ourselves. I think about that all the time. I have an awesome wife that I spend all of my time with, for the most part, and the support that she gives me. I cry on her shoulder, literally, when I need to, and she does the same for me. So what I'm doing and what I'm saying today is I'm reaching out to each one of you in the Second Amendment community, in any community, that suicide is a real thing, and we see it all around us. And it being done with firearms is not strange. We're no stranger to seeing it when it's done with a firearm. The truth is, there's statistics out there that show that most suicides are committed with firearms. But yet sometimes us in the industry, we try to downplay that, and we shouldn't. We're not immune to anything. We're not immune to having feelings of hopelessness, depression. We're not immune to that. There are times when you're going to have to compartmentalize your feelings just to survive. But that's not 100% of the time. So I'm asking you, I'm telling you, I'm encouraging you, empowering you. Seek help. Seek help. Find help. Search for help. Be around people who are going to support you and love you. Okay? Suicide is a real thing, and suicide with firearms is a real thing. So in the Second Amendment community, we got to do a better job of promoting suicide and suicide prevention. It needs to be so alarming for it. And that goes into also gun storage. I can get into a whole nother video about incidents that happened with guns that were not stored from quote unquote law-abiding citizens. But I'll save that for another day. There are suicide hotlines. There's free counseling, which I wish I would have had a list of them here to put in this video. I'll try to put it in the link. Even if it's just talking to a friend or a family member. Think about the consequences and everything that you could be leaving behind. And everyone that actually needs you. If you even have to come and email me personally, or get on, if you gotta get in the, I don't think YouTube has private messages, but if you gotta, you want my private email, it's jonesfirearmscoaching@gmail.com. We can have a conversation, maybe get you on the phone. I'm here. I'm not a counselor, but I've been trained. I've had a lot of experience with mental health stuff and crises, but that's not my job. But if someone felt like I was the only one that could talk to them, the only one that they felt like they could connect with, I'm gonna connect with them. Not as a professional, but as a human being that wants to see this person get better. So that's all I'm gonna say today. It's a pretty sombering subject, but we got to take it serious, especially in the Second Amendment community. We can't say that, oh, this is happening because of mental health. But when it comes for us to really make those strides in mental health, we don't really talk about it. We don't really talk about suicide with firearms, because for some reason, it seems like if we downplay it, that, we feel like we need to kind of downplay it because we don't want someone else to get, or we don't want the other side of the argument to gain points against the Second Amendment movement, excuse me, and what we're trying to do. I don't really care about that. So anyways, I hope that this short talk, was helpful to people. Hopefully it was helpful to people in the Second Amendment community. I'm not saying this is all people, so I hope y'all watch this whole video in the Second Amendment community. But we can still keep a sharp edge and still have empathy for people. Our situational awareness needs to go beyond looking for the threats of a bad guy, quote unquote. But our situational awareness should also be paying attention and being in tune with what's going on with our brothers and our sisters that's on the right and the left of us. And I'm not talking about in law enforcement and military. It can be a neighbor. It can be a family member. It can be a friend. We have to be aware of this. Spread love, man. Have empathy. It's what's really going to change the world and change most situations. So anyways, I'm not going to be on here too long. Thank y'all. If you haven't, go to jonesfirearmscoaching.com. If you're in the Seattle or Washington area, look me up. I'm going to be having some talks on this that I'm preparing for the beginning of the year virtually, and I hope that everybody can be a part of it. So with that being said, stay safe, stay training, and if you need help, please seek help. Thank you.